everybody, it's Misty with Ms. Lawless Promotions. We had some issues with going live. He tried rotating the phone, but for whatever reason, it wasn't letting him accept. So here we come back to talk to everybody, and hopefully I'll be able to keep up with your comments on here. Kennedy is his last name's Shenberg, and he is an artist out of Illinois.
Hello, everybody.
Can y'all hear him okay? Anybody out there? I think my computer's on mute. Hey, everybody, it's Misty with Ms. Lawless Promotions, and I'm here with Kennedy Shenberg, who is an artist out of Chicago, Illinois. Can everybody hear me okay? Anybody? Desiree? Veronica, can y'all hear me? All right, awesome. I can hear us.
Excellent.
Thank you, Jeff.
At least something's starting to work.
Right. We had some issues with going live on the phone, and he had the phone rotated, but for whatever reason, it wasn't letting him accept. So we decided to just do a phone interview. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in art.
I got started in art from technically a breakup. I was engaged, 5-year relationship. She walked out the door on New Year's Eve to not come back. Furniture movers move all her stuff out. And so I had literally no furniture or anything. So I had an empty house, empty walls, just me. And I was like, I can't sit here in an empty place like this going crazy. So I just started doing art. And then a couple weeks later, a friend said, hey, you should try selling that stuff. It's cool. And it just snowballs from there.
Oh, awesome. And I know your art's been on display in a few places. Tell us about that and kind of what your first reaction was whenever you were asked to bring your art in.
That was like, the first show I had was actually in my apartment just because I wanted to get rid of some of it because I was taking up too much wall space. And then a couple of restaurants asked me if I could display some of the art because they bought pieces. Friends that worked at the restaurant, I showed it to them, and they bought it. So I went to restaurants and I started hanging art in there. And then somebody bought a piece from the restaurant, and that was a North Loop gallery. And that gallery then put my art up, and as soon as the gallery in Chicago, a gallery in the Loop, if you get in there, that kind of will explode your career. And it sent me flying to a bunch of other galleries in the Loop area. I was in Motor Road Gallery. I had a gallery in Detroit, which I thought was kind of funny. Then a gallery in California up in San Francisco. And then I had pieces sent to England for a gallery and Germany. And I'm working on a piece right now to going to a gallery in Taipei, in Taiwan.
Ooh, that is awesome.
Yeah, I've been honestly really lucky. I don't normally, my goal in my life every year is to put my art into 6 art shows, and that's it. I don't have lofty goals. I've met a lot of really cool artists that are pretty famous, and that was an enjoyment meeting those people because they've given me lots of pointers on how to do things. And I think that's probably been the best part of my career or journey into doing art is just all the other artists that I meet. They inspire me to try new things.
That is awesome. So what was your reaction the first time somebody asked you to put your art on display somewhere? I mean, were you surprised or were you like, oh, I knew it?
Oh, I was very much surprised. At first I thought it was like a joke. It's like, what? And that I think is the bigger surprise for me was when I was at the show and I was getting introduced to people as the artist. At the time I was a social worker and a clinical supervisor, and I was never introduced as anything other than, oh, this is Kennedy the social worker, or this is Kennedy the therapist, or this is Kennedy the supervisor. Never, this is Kennedy the artist. And I kind of was like, oh, that's me they're talking about. So very much surprised. I was not expecting to do anything or be anything or anything like that.
That makes sense.
But did you get a chance to look at all the art I sent you? I sent you like tons.
I did, and I'm thinking about making a little, like a video slideshow type thing of it to post that. If that would be okay with you.
That's totally fine. I'm a very versatile artist. I've met a lot of artists that tend to stay with the same medium. Like they're painters, they paint, drawers draw, sculptors sculpt. I do a lot of different types of art. I do a little bit of painting, not a whole lot. I do lots of wood burning, lots of markers on wood, wire bending. I carve skulls and bones, and I also do the hand-drawn mandalas. When I say hand-drawn, they're hand-drawn. There's no spiral graph going on there.
That makes sense. Jeff Mitchell, if you're going to be rude or negative, you're welcome to leave. I would never disrespect any artist by going on a live feed and talking like that. So peace out and consider yourself blocked after this broadcast, if not sooner.
Wow, somebody's saying negative stuff about me?
Oh, yeah. He was like, oh, he's boring, this guy. So if that's the way you feel about it, peace out. We didn't want you watching anyways. That's very disrespectful. You were not required to come up on this news feed.
What would be exciting? They want me to dance naked or something?
I guess so. I mean, seriously. There was no need for that.
I was an exotic dancer when I was in the Army.
And from the looks of it, he's a musician. So I can just imagine somebody disrespecting him that way. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be happy with it at all. So let me find this guy. Well, I'll find him later. I'll deal with that later because I'm going to have to delete all these crappy little comments. Because he's like just eating up the feed with crappy comments. So let me go through and delete some nonsense. And
well, maybe he wanted some attention.
Yeah, I guess so. But I guess so. But that's the wrong way to go about it, especially with me, because I have no problem telling him he's being an ass. I have a kid that's more respectful than that.
So, what other questions do you want to ask me?
Oh, several, but give me just a second to get this little person off of here. What inspires you with your art?
A lot of my art comes from my dreams. I have a dream, wake up, write it down, or I get up early in the morning and just start it, draw out a concept. I try not to sit down and say, okay, I want to do art, because that to me is forcing it. And whenever I try to force it to be art, it looks really bad. So I just let the universe guide me.
Okay, I get it now. The guy that was giving us a hard time is not even on my friends list, but he has sent me a friends request, so he's now deleted. He's now blocked. Wow, that's pretty sad, dude. I don't guess it's your attention that he wanted. I guess it's mine.
Ah.
Where's he located, Steve? He is located in Illinois.
He is? Cool.
No, Steve was asking where you were located, and I was telling him that you're located in Illinois. Do you do some shows in Illinois with your art where you actually go out with the art where they could meet you in Illinois?
Yes, I do at least 6 shows a year in Illinois. I'm a producer of an art show called Bones and Cones. Which is usually the first Sunday of October or second Sunday. It depends on whichever day the holiday falls on, because there's a Monday holiday. So we do the Bones and Cones show on that Sunday before. And that's a show we put together, which is gothic horror themed. And I have a lot of my skulls on display there. And we also have between 20 and 30 other artists that participate. And we give out free vegan ice cream. So that's a great thing for people.
That
I
sounds
also
awesome.
Participate in a bunch of other shows that are around here. There's Halloween art, a lot of art shows in Halloween, because my stuff is very gothic, horror based, bone skulls. But I also do some metaphysical places, like Pagan Fest, or other markets that are like that have pagan or alternative stuff. Right. I created a tarot deck based on mandalas on wood, and we just started producing that, mass production. I drew all the images and we laser burned them onto wooden cars. And that's in the process. It's all finished, and we're just starting to collect the orders and sending them out soon.
Now, whenever you go to create an art piece, does it sometimes change like midstream? Like you had an idea in your head, but midstream you're like, wait a minute, this might look better this way.
Oh, absolutely. That happens all the time. It's like I'll start on something based on what the dream was about, and then partway through I'll like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Especially if I get like a stray pencil mark.
Right.
And those stray pencil marks, before I erase them, I look at them like, whoa, that can add to the piece itself. I've done that a lot. Bone carving, that's almost always part of the process, because what I think will look good, and I start carving, the shape of the bone or the density of the bone will change that. Especially because I do a lot of curves on the bones, and some bones have different densities in different spots. And so what I think would be a good, as I start carving, I'll find the bone density gets too thin, and I don't always want to cut all the way through the bone, so I'll have to adjust the image as it goes.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Like I said, I was just curious because I know like several artists I know, even with songs, some of them say that it takes a different direction. And I was like, I wonder if it's that way with art,
Yeah, I think a lot of artists that I know, is they start on one thing and then it reshapes itself or just changes and becomes something completely different.
Right. Is there ever an art piece that for some reason you just can't seem to finish at that time that you have to come back to?
I've had a couple pieces where I will start and then I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, it's not finished, but I don't know where to go with it, and I will set it aside. That happens a lot. I had a couple pieces that one piece I did, it took 5 years to finish because it was just sitting there, needed time and time for it to get finished. And then when I finally looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's what needs to be done. I went and did it, and it was finished.
Oh my goodness, 5 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's not like I make a lot of art. When I'm doing a drawing, I can do a drawing every day. So I'm very prolific. Carving takes a couple dozen to several hundred hours. So I'll draw and do that 3 to 5 times a week, and then wood burn maybe 1 time a week, and then carve, depending on the weather, because the carving I have to do when it's warm. I can't do it inside the house. It's too dangerous.
Right.
So everything sort of, I'll have like 2 or 3 projects possibly going at the same time, and devote different time periods to them when the time is right.
That makes sense. When you first started in art, were you able to do the wood burning and the carving, or was that something that came along later, and how did that come about?
When I first started, I started first with wood burning, and then actually I had an old wood burning tool laying around, and the wood I'd gotten didn't have any grain patterns, and so I was like, it's gonna be boring. So I got out the wood burning tool and just started practicing with it on the piece of wood until something started taking shape. And that's how that came about. And I actually, at one point, I seen a person post a picture of a skull that had been wood burned, or a wood burning tool had been used on it. I was like, that's fantastic. But I didn't have the access to that type of wood burning tool. And someone had mentioned that there's people that carve the skulls, and I started looking around, and I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. And so what I did is I did a little bit of research on how to carve a skull, and I contacted a person. He goes by the tag U.S. Skull Hunter, and he's sort of like one of the U.S.'s leading carvers. He actually does a lot of free publications on how to carve bones and skulls. So if you ever look him up, you can see that. And he's really great. And I talked with him a few times. I talked with a couple other skull carvers, and they gave me ideas. And so I went out. I already had a Dremel, so I just got some extra bits and just started practicing, and things started escalating from there. The wood burning tool that I don't have is very expensive. It's actually more expensive than some of the drills that I use.
Ooh.
So that's kind of just on the side, and maybe someday I'll go to wood burning. I'll use a wood burning tool on the skulls, but I like the carving and how it works, especially because I do a combination of stains and acrylic paints that water down to like a dyed consistency, and I use real gold on the skulls and real silver. So that's always been an enjoyable, if not nerve-wracking, process right there.
Sounds like definitely.
Other questions?
Yeah, I was answering a question that somebody had online. They were asking where you were out of, so I was answering where you're out of and letting them know.
I'm out of Chicago, Illinois, on the north side. My studio is in my apartment. I have a huge apartment, and not only is my apartment where I have my art, but I also have it set up like a gallery with all the other artists that have given me art, or I've bought, with little name cards on it, naming who the artist is and their contact information, along with my collection of oddities, because I have lots of those things.
Oddities.
So,
what kind of oddities? Dare I ask what kind of oddities you have?
I have lots of bones, taxidermy. I have a pulpit. I have a children's coffin. Lots of strange pieces of art, things like that.
Oh.
So many people that come visit spend 20 to 30 minutes just kind of in awe at everything I got hung up.
Right.
So, and people are welcome. They can always email me or Facebook message me if they want to stop by if they're in Chicago. My place is generally viable. People can stop by and see the stuff and talk about it. And I know lots of artists, so there's lots of other artists posted up on my walls.
That is awesome. That is way awesome. Now, do you ever do a piece that's by request? Like somebody has they have an idea in their head and they're like, hey, can you make this? Do you do that sometimes?
Yeah, I take commissions. Usually my commissions are the person has to pay 50% up front and 50% is estimated. Depending on what they want. And I'm not going to take a commission of something I can't do. I will send them to someone that can do it. So people don't have to worry about me saying, oh, yeah, I can do that, and then come out with a piece of crap. I don't do that.
Awesome. Awesome. And how long have you been in Chicago, like your whole life, the whole time you've been doing art, or?
Since I've been doing art, I've only lived in Chicago. But my childhood and life has been traveling. I've lived in literally all the states, the lower 48. My family used to move every 6 months, sometimes a little bit more. They were free love hippie type people.
Now, have you thought about, or have you done where you've taken your art to and gone on like art tours, where you've been at other galleries and other locations with your art, or maybe to some of the art festivals in other areas? Have you done any of that type of traveling?
I have not driven out of state with my art. I don't have a vehicle big enough to contain my art and the materials I would need. But my co-producer for the tarot deck, we've been talking about maybe traveling to a couple out-of-state locations this summer, but
to do
there's
some
nothing
art
written
shows there.
yet.
Okay. If you decide to do that, be sure and tag me and let me know so I can share that with everybody. But if you decide to travel with the art and go to a different location with it. Now, if you have somebody ordering from a different state, are you able to ship that?
Yeah, I've shipped stuff all over the world. So that's really not an issue.
Okay.
And usually the price of shipping is included in the cost of a commission piece. If it's a piece that they already have, then I'll charge just the shipping and just into the cost.
Awesome. When you're looking at other people's art, do you find that you're more critical or less critical, do you think, being an artist yourself?
Before I was an artist, I was very critical of other people's art. When I became an artist, I kind of was like, okay, I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I'm not looking at it from, does this show what I think the artist intended? I look at it more from my heart. Do I like this? Does this make me feel something?
Right.
I
think becoming an artist definitely changes your perspective on how you look at other people's art in most instances. So that's the reason I asked that, because I'm like, I think it affects it. I mean, not for everybody, but I think a lot of people it affects either for the better or for the worse. So that was how that question came about.
Well, when I look at other people's art, I'm looking at it as like, could I do something like that in my style? How does that make me feel? Do I want to kind of emulate it? There's this, I was in this art walk in Oak Park, Illinois, and this woman had her art up, and it was all like galaxy inspired art, like we saw galaxies. But the feature that caught my eye most about it was that she would have this dancing woman in all the pictures. And I was like, that is just It was so perfectly flowing and soft and curvy. I was like, that's really neat. I could do something like that in wire because I was doing a lot of wire bending. And so that night I went home and did some wire bending for a curvy type woman, and the pieces turned out fantastic. I made 3 of them, different phases of the moon, with these curvy wire-shaped women paying homage to the moon, and all 3 sold within an hour of their being completed.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of times? Are there a lot of times where you find that there's a concept to a certain line of art and then a different concept for a different line of art?
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's, I did these pieces. I was at a bar, and there was an artist that had his art on display, and a lot of his art was on paper, and he was doing horror versions of popular children's cartoon characters. And I thought that was really cool. One, that the style that he was doing, but he also made them look like wanted posters. And I was like, that's kind of cool. You got a scary looking Elmo on a wanted poster.
I would love that.
So, yeah, that was really cool. So I went home later on that night, and I created 2 pieces that are wanted style posters on wood that combined the markers I did at the time with the wood burning and the wire bending to look like 2 wanted posters. One's a man and one's a woman. And they've actually never been in an art show. I kind of like them sitting there.
Yeah.
Hung on my wall.
So there are pieces that you kind of decide I really don't want to sell that one. That one's just mine.
Oh, absolutely. My bedroom is where I keep my personal pieces that are not going to get sold, or if they get sold, they're going to get sold for a whole lot of money.
Right.
And so they just kind of sit there, and so whenever people come over and they want to see my private collection, they get to see my messy bedroom.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I think one of the pictures that you used to announce your interview was one of the pieces that are in my bedroom.
Oh, I loved that picture. I was like, that one is the coolest thing, and I really can't put my finger on it, but it just really caught my interest. And I was like, out of all the pictures you sent, that was the one that I was like, wow.
Yeah, that one is really interesting. Is I bought the lumber, and I was just coloring in, literally like coloring in the wood grain. I just followed the wood grain pattern, and all those images of skulls that turned up were from the wood pattern. I didn't manipulate it at all. I just followed the wood pattern.
Oh, wow.
I know, that was like really creepy cool. And then,
it looks really creepy cool when you look at it. It's like, that's kind of creepy, but it's really cool. And it's like, it's up my alley. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pieces. I did 2 of them like that, where I just followed the wood grain, and they turned out really neat.
How do you select the colors? Is that just something that comes to you, or is it like, is there a method behind the colors you're picking, or?
That just comes to me. I'm not one of those color wheel specialists. I'm a guy that says, hey, I like the green, and then someone else will say, which green? There's 12 of them.
Right. Exactly.
I'm like, I don't know. It's all green to me.
How would you say that you have evolved as an artist from where you first started to where you are now, as far as like your concepts? Would you say that they're more intricate now than what they were when you first started?
Oh, absolutely. All my art has gotten far more intricate and more from me. A lot of my art, the early art was more collage based.
Right.
And it was following things that were already there. And now it's more me manipulating the art piece and the materials and use everywhere from drawing or bending the wire or wood burning, whereas everything else is just sort of like, well, that's just the way it is. So I'll just follow the line.
That's awesome. Now, you were talking about the art festival that you have every year. If people wanted to have their art displayed there, how would they go about that?
We do open call. Usually August is when we do a call for artists, and it's Bones and Cones 14 at Gmail, or they can just watch my Facebook, or they can go to a Facebook group called Bones and Cones and join that Facebook group. And we post about the art shows all the time there. We also, Bones and Cones, the production companies, we do things like free seminars for artists and storylines, like how do you price your art, how do you find venues, what works for sales and what doesn't, what to do to get a commission, or how to survive as an artist through commission-based environments.
Oh, that is awesome. Have you thought of putting some of those seminars into video?
Yeah, we probably should, but I'm not a technology wizard, as you know.
Right? Well, maybe one of these days, whenever I'm in Illinois, I can bring my camera and do a video for you.
Sure. We're always open to that. We try to keep the production costs really low, so the artists, because we know a lot of artists, they don't make a lot of money.
No.
And so to participate in the Bones and Cones, we've kept it consistently at $40 a year. And we have the luck that every artist that's participated in the show has sold art, so they've walked out of there, if not at least breaking even, making profit.
That's awesome.
Which is good. Yeah, we take care of all the other stuff. We supply tables, the hanging materials. The artists just have to come, put their art on display, and then press the flesh trying to get the sales. They keep 100% of their sales.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, we know. And last year, we did a scholarship for one artist that's never been in a show before. Yeah, we offered that scholarship, and they didn't have to jump through hoops. They just said, hey, I've never been in a show. Here's my art. I'm interested.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah,
you're going to have to keep me posted and updated on all that stuff. You may have to add me to the group and keep me posted and updated so I can share some of the information on how other artists can join that. When other artists join, can they come from an out-of-state area to join the festival?
Oh, absolutely. We've had an artist come from New York, from Ohio, from Kentucky, lots from Wisconsin and Indiana. So yeah, we've had the artist that came from Columbus, Ohio, and the one from New York. They're like, I don't have money for a hotel. We're like, we'll get you room and board. We'll find a place, another artist for you to hang out for a night or two. That way you're not driving there for 8 hours and then leaving and getting to danger. So we help artists. That's the whole purpose of Bones and Cones, to help artists.
To help artists and to kind of bond the artists together where you're helping each other. That is awesome. That is awesome. All right, where can people go to find your art? If they're not in your area, are there? I know I posted the Facebook link. Are there other links that you have as well, or just Facebook?
I have an Instagram, Kennedy_Shenberg. I believe I have art and Lakeside Antique Shop in Ohio. Honestly, I don't know where else I have art. I think all the rest of the art has been recalled, which means I brought it back to my place because I need to know what I have. And I think I have my Flickr account, but I don't even check that often. The Flickr has gone crazy.
So they're better to contact you on Facebook or Instagram rather than Flickr then?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram is the best way to contact me, and I respond quite often. This is my direct Facebook,
really
Kennedy
quick.
Code Board, or the Facebook art of Kennedy Shenberg, or Instagram, just Kennedy_Shenberg.
I know whenever
at some
I've
point I might
contacted
buy a
you,
website.
I know when I've contacted you, you've always responded really quickly to anything I send. So I can definitely vouch for you respond within a reasonable amount of time. Okay, is there anything that you would like to say before I get off of this Facebook Live here with you?
I appreciate your time and the support you're giving to the artistic community. That's a good thing. I know a lot of people don't always understand. They think that there's always an underlying intention, but sometimes people just want to be supportive of their world, and that's people like you. So that's appreciative.
Thank you. I enjoy supporting art and music, anything to do with the entertainment industry. I mean, where would we be without the inspiration of art? Life would be very dull.
Yeah, yes, it would be.
But I thank you for taking the time to talk to me and to explain your art. And I know that's not always the easiest thing to do, but I really appreciate it. And
well, thank you for taking your time to hang out with me.
I appreciate all you guys tuning in, and I will see y'all back at 1:45. I will be talking with some of the band members from Candlelit Chaos at 1:45. We'll be talking with the drummer and the bassist. And until then, love y'all. Peace out.
All right, thanks a lot. Bye.